Yo, what is up, everybody? You know what? I'm going to let y'all in on something. The reason why I have that loading screen, that countdown thing, is because it gets me hyped. Y'all couldn't see me backstage, but I was just over here like, ah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be with you guys here tonight. Welcome to the Clarify My Life Masterclass. If you can hear me okay, let me know that the tech is working all right. Say you can hear me in the chat. I'm going to need y'all to talk to me in the chat tonight. Look, I am bringing big energy. I am going to bring big energy tonight. All I ask, my only request of you tonight is that you reciprocate. That's all I ask. That you can reciprocate with the energy tonight. Talk back to me in the chat. All right, y'all can hear me. Good, good, good. I got like 3 screens going on here. Hopefully I know which one to look at. But I'm so excited to share with you guys the topic of clarity. The topic of clarity tonight. I'm going to be digging deep into this topic because it's been something that has been so transformative for me over the past few years. And you ever listen to my podcast or you've seen me on a podcast, you might have heard me say, if you ever been to my website, you've probably heard me say or seen this phrase. I say the quality of your life is directly determined by the clarity of your vision. The quality of your life is directly determined by the clarity of your vision. What do I mean when I say that? I don't really mean vision in the sense that it's typically used, right? Because I've realized that there's no shortage of dreamers. There's no shortage of visionaries. People have vision. There's an overabundance of vision. What I mean really when I say clarity of vision is how well can you see? How well can you see yourself? How well can you see God? How well can you see others? How well can you see the strengths in people? How well can you see your strengths, other people's weaknesses? All these different things is how well can you see the world, and how you navigate it is determined by how clear that vision is. That's what I mean by when I say the quality of your life is directly determined by the clarity of your vision. Something else I say, not as much, but something else I say is clarity cures a multitude of sins. Clarity cures a multitude of sins. There's a scripture in First or Second Peter. I can't quite remember which one, but it says, "Love covers a multitude of sins." That's so beautiful, and it does. And this is not in scripture, but I think this is true. I think clarity cures a multitude of sins, and I use the word cure intentionally because I believe it gets to the root of many of the diseases that are plaguing us. Metaphorically, I'm saying diseases that are plaguing us. Whether that is, imposter syndrome or procrastination or consistency issues or whatever it is, right? All these symptoms, clarity can be the cure. And I know you're not here because you have nothing else to do. So I'm going to try to honor your time well. I'm going to try to get through this stuff as quickly as I can. But I also know that you're here because you have a vision for your life and you have a purpose on your life that you're somewhat aware of. You wouldn't be on this masterclass if you weren't. But it's too important not to get clear about it, right? Talk back to me if I'm hitting it on the head here, or maybe I'm a little bit off. But I'm pretty sure if you're in this type of environment, and the average people aren't getting on masterclasses about clarity, that you are aware of some type of vision that you have, some type of purpose on your life, and you realize it's too important not to be clear about it, right? So what I want to do tonight is talk about clarifying your life in a 5-step framework, Okay. I'm guessing a lot of you here, this probably is not your first time trying to get clear about, what am I doing? What's my future? Where is God taking me on this road of life? It's probably not your first time. The first thing I want to get out the way is if you have found yourself on a cycle, procrastination, inspiration, overwhelm, procrastination, inspired. You see a good sermon, you read a good book, you hear a good TED Talk, whatever it is, you're ready to go. Let's take action. Let's do this thing. I am pumped up. And then you go start to do it. Overwhelmed, procrastination. I'm here to let you know you're not alone. It's okay. You are not abnormal. You actually are quite normal. This is a natural process. And lots of times, This confusion is what keeps us from the success we know is just a reach away. It's just a reach away. It's okay. And if you've been concerned in the past that you can't succeed as a coach or as a consultant or as a content creator or whatever it is, I want to put those views to rest for you tonight. I want to put those views to rest for you tonight. You can do this. You just need the right person to help you get clear. And I have to say this because my faith is just a part of everything that I do. It's just I cannot separate clarity from Christ in this situation. The adversary, the enemy, the Satan, devil, whatever you want to call him, he will use absolutely anyone and anything to make you feel like you aren't capable of spreading the message that you want to spread across the globe. Absolutely anyone or anything. Because he knows that your vision is what I will call divinely contagious. Meaning if someone catches it and gets a hold of it, he won't be able to stop it after that because it's just going to spread. So he has to do one or two things. He has to do one or two things. Let me know if you're feeling me on this. Talk to me in the chat. He has to do one or two things. He has to either have to keep you from starting or he has to stop you from continuing. He either has to stop you from ever starting or he has to stop you from sticking with it. That's the only way he can stop you from shining. That's the only way he can stop you from giving God glory. If you ever felt like the world was just conspired against you to keep you undisciplined and distracted, you are pretty right. You are pretty right. There's one thing that I've seen that the powers of this world, like people that have made an idol of the kingdom of this world, there's one thing that they're all fighting over. Put in the chat if you could guess what that thing is. There's one thing that the powers of this world, everyone who has succumbed to the idol worship of this kingdom of this world, they're fighting over one thing. That one thing is power. Power. They're all fighting over power. And how do you obtain power? By possessing control. By possessing control. So I want to show you guys something real quick. By possessing control. There's only 3 ways that the powers of this world can maintain control. 3 ways. First way, complacency. Second way, chaos. Third way, confusion. Confusion. Complacency. An interesting fact is back in slavery in this country, or wherever they had, colonization and slavery, the slave masters used to give, like at the end of the week, their slaves, a little bit of booze, a little bit of lick, some watermelon, something just to give them a buzz, just to give them a high, just to get them drunk enough to just kind of forget about their plight, about their situation, just enough to make them feel like things were going to be okay and to keep them complacent. That's how you maintain control. Chaos, right? You can't see right now, but I restructured my setup for tonight. There's some chaos going over here. It's kind of throwing me off right now. It is hard to stay focused in chaos. You hear stories about, certain communities where certain powers that be will insert things that ensue chaos, whether that's weapons or whether that's drugs or chaos. If people are in chaos, you can maintain control. Confusion. And I'm really talking about internal confusion on this one. You got so many things vying for your attention. Oh, you need to build your dream this way. You need to do this. This is what's important. This is what is important. Oh, you need to back off of this. This is the vehicle that you should take. People are confused. That's how you maintain control. And the enemy knows this as well. He wants you to be complacent. He wants you to be in a state of feeling like you're in chaos. He wants you to be confused. But what's the antidote to all these things is why we're here tonight. Oh my gosh, it's in my mic. Clarity. Clarity is the antidote for this. So that's what we're here for. I know you have a dream to change the world, make an impact. I want to show you how I am approaching this. This is really just me sharing some stuff I really want to share with you tonight in this masterclass. My goal for this presentation is really to help 2 types of people. The first one is if you have no idea what your purpose is or what God has called you to do, you'll learn some self-reflection tactics or strategies that have changed my life personally. So you'll get that. And number 2, the second type of person, for those who have a clear vision of what they want to do, but are not clear about how to make that vision like a reality or the things that they need to do to actually make that process possible. I'm going to give you 5 steps, a 5-step process, and it's completely changing my formal struggles with procrastination, indecision, inconsistency, all these different things. In like the next like 43 minutes is my goal to get you to believe that having a clarity framework is the key to building a life that serves people, pleases God, fulfills you, and pays well. And I'm going to get a little bit into more what I mean when I say that. But these are the 5 keys. I'm going to give you 5 keys to help you get that result in a simple way. And to make sure you stay to the end, because I am going to be giving an opportunity that will never ever exist again. It will never exist again in the way that's going to be presented tonight. I'll say that. So make sure you stay to the end. But before we get into what those 5 keys are, I just want to ask you a simple question, and talk to me in the chat, y'all. Does anybody here have a friend, or used to have a friend, that just somehow always had a way of talking you into doing something that you knew you weren't supposed to be doing? Tell the truth, shame the devil, right? One friend. You don't gotta put their name. If you want to put their name, you know they're probably not watching. They might be, but who knows? Usually it's a pseudo name. It doesn't matter. But if that's you, just put me in the chat. If you've had like one friend that's just real persuasive for some reason, then you're just like, how'd you get me here? Like, how did you? We're here again. How'd this happen? I had one of those friends. His name was Josh. You might see this. What's up, bro? And this was like in college. And yeah, he was a smooth talker. He just was able to persuade so well. And I used to tell him all the time, Josh was like Josh was like, Teresa said, no way. Sure, yeah. He was like a science major, like biology or something like that. And I knew he didn't like it. I was like, dude, I was in the business department. I was like, dude, you need to be like a marketing major or something. You're too good with persuasion to not be in business. And the funny thing is, as of this day, he leads a sales team. So you could say maybe I have a prophetic gift or something like that. I don't know. But he started using those gifts. I'm telling you, he was so good. But I'm not going to talk about all the things that we did that we weren't supposed to be doing. I want to talk about the thing that was good. Josh is actually the reason. He's the catalyst. He talked me into starting a podcast. He's actually the reason why I even started down this thing. Oh man, we got some saints in the chat. God bless y'all. Maybe I'm just easily persuaded. Who knows? But he was like, man, you have some profound things that you be saying, man. You need to start a Twitter account and things like that. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I should. I'm gonna start Twitter, start saying something. Maybe I might blow up. Whatever. Didn't work. But anyway, I started working in radio at this time. I was working at the local radio station, and I realized I had a knack for like getting on mic, podcasting, and y'all distracting me in these comments. And I was like, maybe I should start a podcast. So that's what I did, and I mean, it has just led to a different world for me, honestly. And it's been the process of me just meeting amazing people, influencers, community leaders, visionaries, organizations, and companies, masterminds, being interviewed, entrepreneurs, winning awards, starting my own business, being featured in the press, speaking events, helping other people do the same thing, all because I learned how to communicate my ideas online decently well. All because of that. But that's not the point of why I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this because when I started this podcast, because of the timing, it was just perfect timing, At that point in time, you didn't know many people personally that had a podcast. It was like, 6, 7 years ago. And if you ask somebody, it's probably like the first time they got asked to be on a podcast. So that, along with being, in college or fresh out, people a little bit more giving, a little bit more generous with their time when that's the case. So I was able to get lots of people on the show that I probably just did not have any business being able to connect with, to be quite honest. And after, doing these interviews, like 50, 60 people, 65, 70 people talking, you start to see some trends. And I started seeing some trends from these people I was talking to have built lives I was aspiring toward. This was like my way of getting my own education, right? And here's one thing that I noticed unanimously across the board for all these people. They were clear. Now, I'm not saying that they were clear about the beginning to the end, but they were clear about who they were, who God says He is, and who He called them to be, and who they were called to serve. And because of that, there was a second really common trait, which was they were all action takers. But it was because of this level of not necessarily certainty, but confidence that came from clarity. And I'm seeing this, and I'm like, okay, Cleve, you got to get clear. Like, you need to clarify your life. What are you doing with your time? You know, what are you doing with the gifts God has given you? And at this point, I had moved back to like the DC area, sleeping in my childhood bedroom, working in the radio industry again. Somehow ended up there, which ended up being a great experience, by the way. And I was just trying to figure out how to move what I was working toward, if that makes sense. And if I'm identifying with anybody that can understand this, let me know in the chat. Um, and you have to remember, at this time, there was also a little bit of pressure because I turned down a clear track of employment from college my senior year because I didn't want to work in corporate business. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave that option for no options. I had no options. I was like, I'm betting on me, though. I'm going to figure it out. And that was a tough. But in this process, I started studying clarity really deeply. And I invested in my own education, and was getting certifications, was finding mentors, was participating in mastermind groups, was taking courses, was reading a ton of books, all while creating at a prolific rate too, by the way. So I was podcasting, I was making YouTube videos, I was started blowing up on TikTok. It was really crazy. And what's the point? Why am I sharing this with you? My whole point of sharing this with you is because I want you to understand that I understand. Does that make sense? Like, I want you to understand that I see you. I see that you've been grinding. Like, I see that you've been putting in the work. I see that you've been creating things. I see that you've been investing in your growth. I see that you've been taking leaps and steps of faith. I see you. And I understand what that feels like. And here's the thing though, while I was doing it, I was getting like these shallow results. I was becoming what I guess they would call like a jack of all trades but master of none to a certain degree. I guess more so what I was saying, I had no focused energy. My energy was going just all over the place, just trying to do everything. And I was burning out. I was working hard, but I wasn't working efficiently, if that makes sense. So, during this whole time, I still had the epiphany that I had a little while back about getting clear, right? And I kind of circled back to it. I was like, you know what, this isn't working. I feel like I can make it work, but it's not working for me. So I circled back to getting clear, but this time I had like way more knowledge and experience than I had because of like the 3 years I started studying clarity like intensely. And during this period of time, also my network blew up. Like I grew my network by a lot because I told you I was going to all these different, I was doing these mastermind groups and going to conferences and doing all these different things. So my network grew a lot, and I was seeing lots of my peers who were doing things like I was doing, and I was also seeing trends with this. And I was seeing like so many people more talented than me, more gifted than me, people who were super creative, but were not optimizing because of a lack of clarity. Like they would start and stop and press on the gas and let off and get shiny object syndrome and all these different things, or just not go all in because they weren't clear. They're being tugged in multiple directions. Does anybody understand what that feels like? I know I really do. And when I was seeing this, I could see so clearly what the reason for it was. And not no fault to them. Like they're attributing like, oh, I have a procrastination problem. I have a time management problem. I have confidence problem, consistency problem, imposter syndrome problem. None of these things are incorrect. But I would say they're probably incomplete. These are symptoms, not the disease. And I knew this, and I could see it clearly because of the things that God had brought me through up to that point. The experience He brought me through, I was able to see the roots so clearly. And as I was seeing this, God spoke to me. And He was like, hey, He put something on my heart to create. And I was like, wow. Yeah, He showed me that internal confusion. This is the words I got. Internal confusion was a silent killer that was assassinating visionaries left and right. And that I was a person to help eradicate the virus. Excuse me. And quite honestly, this felt very like Moses-like moment. I was like, could have heard that right. Could have heard that right. Like Here's the reason why I thought I couldn't hear that right. Because I'm still figuring stuff out too. Like how can I do that? How can I lead clarity when I'm getting clear myself? Like that doesn't make any sense. And here's what look, this is a part of my why, which I will get to a little bit later maybe. But it was part of this is that there's so much information. The world doesn't need more information, it needs more examples. So when I thought about that, which I already had predetermined, I felt him say, hey, look, I don't need you to be an expert. I just need you to be a leader. And you know those moments where you're like, can't really say anything about that. God kind of God kind of shut you. I don't need you to be an expert. I just need you to be a leader, and I'm leading somewhere with this. I started a community about 6 months ago. It's called Visionpreneur School. And the whole point of the community is to help visionaries get clear so that they can build impactful businesses and brands and then change the world as a result. And I've been leading this group for like the past 6 months. And guys, I started sharing what I was learning about clarity and visionary thinking in a 5-step framework that I call clarity shipping, which I'll explain a little bit later. And y'all, it's been working. It's been working. It's working on me. Like, I am definitely receiving the blessings of it myself. I've been more focused than ever. I'm more efficient than ever. I'm more useful to society at large than ever. Literally people in the community since joining have launched in-person events, have co-authored books, have started coaching businesses of their own, have taught masterclasses online of their own. And the reason why I believe these results are manifesting themselves is because of something I call the D5 blessing. The D5 blessing. And I'm going to put that on the screen so that you can see what I'm talking about here. The D5 blessing is this. You get discovered. You learn who God says you are and who God says He is and who God has called you to serve. You get discovered. You get detoxed. You learn what you must eliminate so that you can elevate. You get developed. You learn the skills necessary to build the vision you have. You get disciplined. You learn how to stay focused. Oof, I feel this. You learn how to stay focused in a world fueled by distraction. And 5, you get delivery details. You learn how to effectively communicate your message to the masses, y'all. This is the D5 blessing. If you want that on your life, I know I do. If you want that on your life, put I want it in the chat. The D5 blessing. And the D5 blessing leads to something that I call this. I made this up on my own, but it resonates with me. A clear life. It leads to a clear life. What's a clear life? I define a clear life as a life that serves people, pleases God, fulfills you, and pays well. That just feels good coming off the tongue. It's a life that serves people, pleases God, fulfills you, and pays well. So what I want to do, I'm running out of time. So what I want to do is give you 5 keys to unlock the D5 blessing in your life. I want to give you 5 keys to unlock each portion of the D5 blessing in your life so you can live a clear life. I'm telling you guys, clarifying your life is the key that will unlock a level of focus you have never possessed before. It will change how you walk. It will change how you interact with everyone and everything. It will change how you talk. If you lock in with me for the next 29 minutes, lock in with me for the next 29 minutes. I'm going to share you the secrets for clarifying your life that I have seen for myself. Now, here's a fair warning. I got to put my face back on the screen for this. Here's a fair warning. You will not be able to unsee this. I just want to let you know, you will not be able to unsee this. So if you are curious and not serious about this, I advise that you can log off. I promise it won't hurt my feelings. You can log, because what I don't want you to do is to be exposed to this, because you can't be unexposed, and then try to go back to the way you were living before, because it will make you more frustrated. I promise you. And I don't want you to be more frustrated. So if you're not serious, like, it's all good. But if you are serious, I need you to lock in with me for 28 minutes. Lock in with me for 28 minutes. You will not be able to unsee this. Put I'm locked in the chat. if you're locked in. If you're ready to go, if you're ready, if it's is it okay if I dive into these 5 keys to unlock the DeFi blessing for you? Put I'm locked in or say you're good to go. And I will begin this process. All right, we're locked in. First one, discovery. How do we unlock discovery? What's the first key? First key is honesty. Did you expect that? The first key is honesty. There's a great quote by Carl Jung that I like. He says, "He who looks outside dreams, but he who looks inside awakens. He who looks outside dreams, but he who looks inside awakens." I remember a few years ago, I was doing an exercise with my friend. His name's Tom. And we did something that I harp on all the time because it changed my life so much. And it's in Visionpreneur School. And it was called Find Your Why. And we literally sat in a field. We sat in the grass and did this thing. And when I tell you it was the most transformative experience of finding my why. And it was so cool because it just, the thing about discovery is that it's discovery, it's revelation, it's revealing. A lot of times we try to create our future, when really what we just need to do is unveil who we are in the present, and it will tell us. It will put the writing on the wall. And we go through this process of just understanding our environments and experiences and exposures all up to this point, from birth until then. And it was made so clear to me. I was like, wow, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm like this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. It makes so much sense. But the thing about it, though, the only reason it worked, we had to be super transparent on this. The only reason it worked was because we were honest. If we had tainted anything, not, completely been honest, open, and transparent with the exercise, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. Honesty was the key. And here's something that I see so prevalently, especially among people who are believers in the faith, church people. We're afraid that if we're honest about what we want, it will be outside of God's will. I want to respect that thought process. I'm not knocking that because I think it's important to be within God's will. And so sometimes I get some backlash when I say, well, what do you want? And sometimes the scripture, it's like in Jeremiah 17:9, I think. The heart is deceitful above all things, desperately wicked. Who can know that verse, right? And I get it. That's true. We were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. So I can understand the mistrust of self. You shouldn't be trusting yourself. I understand. But let me offer this frame of thinking to you real quick. Everything that was wicked, everything that is wicked, was once good. Everything that is wicked was once good. The adversary cannot create anything. He can only pervert it. He can only tarnish and taint what was originally good. Why am I sharing this? Because I feel like we have this process backwards. So what we do, because of how we're raised in, especially like Western culture where everything's a grade, everything's pass or fail, you're getting scored, in the education system. You either get an A, a B, or a C, and you base your worth on that grade. We begin to filter everything in our lives. So before we articulate anything, we filter it. We say, okay, how is this going to be perceived? What is this going to be thought about? Who's going to like this? Who's going to dislike this? How is God even going to feel about this? Which makes no sense because he knows you, he knows your heart already. But we're silly like that, and we filter so many things because that's what we've been trained to do. Even when it comes to what we want in life, our purpose, our vision, our calling. But what if we flip the order? Because I'm not knocking Jeremiah 17. I know the heart is deceitfully wicked. But what if we flip the order? What if we said, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to be honest, articulate it first, and then filter it through Scripture, then filter it through the Holy Spirit, then filter it through good counsel. We wring our dreams dry by filtering before we articulate. The honesty never has a chance to actually flow out because we catch it before it can even hit the paper. We catch it before it can even hit the ears of someone that we want to tell because we're so scared of what they might think, of what God might think, of what our family might think, of what our church family might think, of what our pastor might think, of what our mentor might think. You gotta be honest or else it don't work. And here's the thing, I always talk about what's a God idea versus a good idea, a good idea versus a God idea. You don't want to let go of good ideas. Why? Because good ideas make sense. Good ideas add up. 1 + 1 = 2. But the difference between a good idea and a God idea is that you won't want to let go of a good idea, but a God idea won't let go of you. What is that thing that won't let go of you, no matter how hard you try to kick it out the door? What is it? Be honest. I can't stay on this much longer. I'm behind. I am behind, guys. You got to be honest. That's the first key. Hopefully I'm making sense. If you're tracking, put tracking in the chat. I got to move on. Second thing, the second D of what we're looking at, that's detox. Detox. What's the key to having the detox aspect of the D5 blessing? Accountability. Accountability. Now, this isn't the exact quote because I can't actually remember where I heard it or read it. But Donald Miller has said this profound thing that shook me to my core when I heard it. And it was something like this: being confused and indecisive often feels safer than being committed and accountable. I am on your hairline right now. Being confused and indecisive feels safer than being committed and accountable. And this is so true. This is so true. Just not too long ago, so I'm big on accountability. This is one of the reasons why I do things often so publicly, because I can't back out. The reason why I'm actually doing these masterclasses is because of accountability. Some of you guys watching know that for sure, just from yesterday, actually. So you get it. But I got a call from a buddy, or a message from a buddy, and I actually have software on all my devices, every single one, that curbs my activity on certain things, right? And there's these certain standards that if I break them, it messages my accountability partners. I have people in my life who I've designated as accountability partners who are trustworthy. And it will literally email them if I have any infractions. And it's been a while since that's happened, but he hit me up and was like, hey man, hey look, I got an email today. What's going on? And I was like, oh, what did the AI wasn't accurate. It messed up or whatever. It was a false alarm. But the point was, I was like, oh shoot, like I'm being held accountable. I kind of forgot. But there were certain things I needed to detox from my life, and I needed to be held accountable for it. Now I'm way more cognizant of what I'm looking at, how I'm spending my time online. Is this making sense? Like, accountability is the key to unlocking this thing, because I guarantee you, a guaranteed way to stay stuck is to hide what's holding you back. A guaranteed way to stay stuck is to hide what's holding you back. There's this guy I watch online. I watch him on YouTube. His name's Dan Coe, and he said something that was so profound. He was like, perpetuating procrastination is just a result of you perpetually being private. So if you want to help your procrastination, go public. Let that sizzle in your spirit. I gotta move on, y'all. The key is accountability. Detox. Say it again. Your perpetual procrastination is a result of you perpetually being private. If you want to beat procrastination, be public. A guaranteed way to stay stuck is to hide what's been holding you back. That's right, Coach CL. I'll put it on the screen so people can see it if they want to. Gotta move on to the next one, guys. Gotta move on to the next one. Development. The development aspect of the D5 blessing. What's the key? What's the key for it? The key is exposure. Exposure. You can't develop deficiencies you don't know exist. I know it sounds rather, like, yeah, no dip. But I don't think we actually understand like how important this is. You can't develop deficiencies you don't know exist. And you are made aware of those deficiencies through something I call strategic exposure. Strategic exposure. Excuse me. What do I mean when I say strategic exposure? What I mean is I'm putting myself in places and with people intentionally to help expose me to things in an area that I know I need help in. What does this look like, right? If I'm trying to get better at sales, I'll probably go to a sales convention, a sales mastermind, because I know there are things I don't know about sales and I need to be exposed. But I'm intentionally putting myself in that environment. In fact, real life example. I felt a call. I was reading a book, and I really felt God was calling me to actually be more of a disciple. I was not doing as much as I needed to be doing with this in the realm of discipleship, with discipling people. But I myself was very newly, just based on my background, introduced to like the whole aspect of discipleship. So what did I do? I knew there were things I didn't know. I understood I had deficiencies, but I didn't know what they were. So I called up one of my pastors. I said, "Hey man, I need to be discipled. If I'm going to disciple, I need to be discipled." Strategic exposure. He's exposing me to things about discipleship, about myself, about spirituality that I didn't know I was deficient in. You cannot develop deficiencies you do not know exist. I'm moving. I'm moving, y'all. I want to stay on time. Discipline, number 4 of the D5 blessing. What is the key to unlocking discipline? I don't know if you guys are going to see this one coming. Simplicity. Simplicity. I love this quote. Perfection is not when there's no more to add, but no more to take away. Perfection is not when there's no more to add, but no more to take away. The key to doing more actually isn't doing more. It's doing less. I'm seeing this so profoundly. In fact, I'm going to release some products to the world because this is really just changing my life. The less that I worry about, the less that I do, the more I'm doing. It is ridiculous. The less I'm trying to do, the more productive I am, the more disciplined I am. And you know why? I think Myron Golden sums it up really well in this quote. He said, just because something is simple doesn't make it easy, which I think we all know the truth of that statement. But at least being simple makes it doable. Discipline is already hard enough by itself. Making it complex does not make it more doable. We have to get clear to understand what matters and when it matters. Because by making things simple, it makes discipline so much more doable. So much more doable. The key to doing more actually isn't doing more, it's doing less. And you will be more disciplined as a result. I'm moving, y'all. Number 5, the delivery aspect of the D5 blessing. And this is probably my favorite part because I'm a content creator. Authenticity. And I actually don't mean authenticity in the way that, it's kind of been gallivanted all over the internet and TV and whatever, whereas, you gotta be authentic and vulnerable and people connect and blah, 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 which is true, but that's not what I'm saying. My mentor puts it like this. Some of you guys might have heard it before. He's like, be authentic with everyone. Be transparent with a few. That's emotional intelligence. Be authentic with everybody, but be transparent with a few. Jesus had 12. He was vulnerable with 3. But I digress. Authenticity. What I mean by authenticity is actually this. I'll just put it on the screen. I'll put it on the I'm not sharing my screen. Do what you would do anyway. Do what you would do anyway. What do I mean by this? I see so often people who are gifted and talented at doing something because they know they have to spread their message, whether it be online or whether it be some form of marketing or exposure to the world. They try to do something that they've never done before. That's completely not authentic to them, including myself to some degree. Before it's like, oh, I've gotta, I like doing these talks one on one, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start doing masterclasses to the masses. It's just like it's just like, wait, have you ever done? Is that your thing? Like, no, okay, all right. Well, I love to write. I do poetry, but I think we want to start an interview podcast. Whoa, whoa, what? Why? Why are you going to start an interview podcast? Didn't you? Your thing is writing, right? You like to write? Okay. Do what you would do anyway and capture it. I literally just got off a call yesterday talking with somebody. And she had this amazing epiphany. It was just so incredible. But she likes to do woodwork. And she was like, you know what? Like, I already do woodwork. I can just capture myself doing it on camera and share what I would talk about anyway. And I was like, yeah, you can. Like, do what you would do anyway and capture it. If you like having conversations with random people in public, people are making thousands of dollars on YouTube doing that. Do what you would do anyway and capture it. Be authentic to you. Here's the thing. If you try to be someone else, people aren't going to like you. If you be yourself, people aren't going to like you. So, I mean, you might as well be yourself and people not like you than be someone who you aren't and they still not like you. Does that make, be authentic. Do what you would do anyway. I don't know if this is landing. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. If you're tracking, put tracking in the chat. Let me know in the chat whether you're feeling me on this one. I don't know. I feel like I got a little quiet. But hopefully I'm making sense with what I mean here. You got to be authentic to you. Do what you would do anyway. If you love to write, write. If you love to speak, speak. If you love to sing, capture it, sing. Now, of course, there are different ways and frameworks of how to structure this, which I love to teach, because it's really all about frameworks. It's really just about understanding human psychology and attention currency. But I don't have time to get into that today. But we got to be clear on these things. That's it. That is the D5 blessing, y'all. These are the keys. Guys, does this make sense? Does this make sense? I just gave you 5 keys to unlock the D5 blessing in your life. You got to have honesty. You got to have accountability. You got to have exposure, strategic exposure. Simplicity leads to discipline. And authenticity in your delivery. Do what you were going to do anyway. And if you do this, you will find more clarity. And hey, that's exactly right. And I didn't even touch on that, Sheila. I didn't even touch on that. She said, do what you like so that you won't quit when it gets rough. So key. Here's the thing. The reason why authenticity works so well when it comes to delivery is because it's sustainable. You can do it essentially forever. And the thing is, we try to do something sustainably because we see somebody else doing it sustainably, but not realizing what's sustainable for them isn't sustainable for us. You have to be authentic to what that is. Such a good point. Such a good point. So, how many of you guys want to do these 5 things? Want to use these 5 keys? Put me in the chat if you want to do these 5 things. Because if you do these 5 things, you can unlock the D5 blessing. And when you unlock the D5 blessing, you can live a clear life. But if you don't do these 5 things, you won't unlock the D5 blessing, and then you won't be able to have a clear life. I mean, you might be able to, but it might take a lot longer. Is kind of what I'm saying here. I've seen these things work. And in order to execute these 5 things, I do not want to leave you out on a limb, because we know it's one thing to know something and a complete other thing to execute. Raise your hand if you know that's the truth. It's one thing to know something, completely different thing to execute. So I want to give you some help on how to execute this. Four things actually that I want to share with you of how you will be able to execute this and actually get results. Number one, a coach. A coach, a coach, a coach. Um, I would not be doing this right now. I would not be doing this overall, and I would not be doing this masterclass, literally, if it were not for a coach telling me to get off my butt. Like I had this information inside, but I was like, I'll mm. A coach coached me. And I know you might be thinking, oh, well, I might not need a coach right now in the season I'm in. And I talk a little bit about this in some work in Visionpreneur School. It's the concept of main character energy. Some of you guys know about this. You might have been through some of my stuff before. Main character energy, where you understand that you actually every single person is the main character of their own life, because everyone's living a story, and we're all at the center of our own story. And talking to church people, I hear this all the time. Oh, that's not true. God is the center of my life. Great, kudos to you. But that's not true. Here's why I can say that's not true. Because you realize that you need God in order to have the life that you want, or to even have eternal life. But God is very clear that He does not need you, right? So you putting God at the center of your life is you putting you in your best interest. You're still the main character. Like, you cannot avoid it. It's okay. It's okay. I want to let you know it's all right to be the main character. You know why? Because there's something else that I haven't said yet. Every hero has a guide. Every hero has a guide. Every hero has a God. You would not see any story that exists, whether it's, Luke Skywalker in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is it Poe? What Kung Fu Panda? Poe? What was his name? I think it was Poe. Master Shifu, right? He had a guide. Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi. You will not see a hero without a guide, because the hero can't become who he needs to become or she needs to become without the help of a guide, without the help of a God. So every single person needs a coach. Now, some people say this. Oh, well, good. God is my coach. Yes. Yes, He is. I'm glad He is. God is your coach. But you could be turning away people that He puts in your life to coach you. Have you ever heard the story of the guy that was like stranded at sea, and like he's praying for God to miraculously save him, and like a sail ship or a sailboat comes by, and he's like, oh, it's okay, I prayed, God will save me. And then like, a fishing boat comes by, and he's like, oh, it's okay, I prayed for God to save me, He'll save me. Then a helicopter comes, and he's like, oh, I prayed, and he ends up dying. God sends people in your life to help you. Just want to make that clear. He is your coach, but you can be coached by a person as well. Coaching transformed my life. The second thing to execute is continual learning. Clarity is a process, not a prescription. I wish I could just scribble something on paper, say, hey, take this to the pharmacy, get the medicine, you'll be good. But that's not how it works. Clarity is a process, not a prescription, which means you need continual learning. Continual learning on an ongoing basis. I heard a miraculous quote just this week. I wrote it down, but I can't remember exactly what it is, but it was something to the likes of, once we believe we know who we are, we stop learning. I know more, and I'm more clear about Cleavon than I was yesterday. And I will have the same epiphany tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. And that happens with everything. I get more clear about myself. I get more clear about God. I get more clear about the world, because I am continually learning. The day I think I know something is the day I stop learning. If you want this thing to work, you got to realize it's a process, not a prescription. Continual learning. Third, community. I would not be, again, I would not be doing this masterclass class right now if it wasn't for a community holding me accountable. I do not tell you anything that I have not done multitudes of times. So I'm not prescribing you without tasting my own medicine. Community is so important. You need to be surrounded by people who elevate you, who inspire you, who hold you accountable. Point blank, period. You don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. You can't be your best self by yourself. I'm using all these euphemisms, or not euphemisms, all these sticky statements from my mentor. It's crazy how these things come out. My goodness. But it's all true. You cannot be your best self by yourself. The first time God said something wasn't good when he saw man was alone. You are not designed to do this thing. You're not designed to build this thing that God has called you to build by yourself. Community will change you. He's going to laugh when he sees all these sticky statements. Lastly, curated content. Curated content. What I mean, there's more information than we know what to do with in this world. And it's all, I got 3 screens in front of me that can literally all go to different parts of the earth in a matter of seconds. There's too much information. We don't know what to do with it. Who has time to go through 9 things that don't work just to find the one that does? Who has time to read 9 books to find only one that helps? Ain't nobody got time for that. Curated content. Content that is designed. Just last week we had a guest speaker, a guest interview in Visionpreneur School on a vision support call. She gave 2 dimes, 2 books that spoke directly to a problem that someone was having in the community. It's like, oh, you need to read this book and this book. Instead of having to search through Amazon, Barnes and Noble, YouTube reviews. Curated content. We have a whole section in Visionpreneur School called Resource Library. Links to literally software, business development, spiritual development, personal growth, content creation tools for books, podcasts, YouTubers, all these different things. Curated content. So you don't have to go searching everywhere to find it. You got to find curated. This is why we love playlists. It's curated. That's the 4 things, y'all. A coach. Everyone needs, every hero needs a guide. Continual learning. Clarity is a process, not a prescription. Community. You need to be surrounded by people who elevate you, inspire you, and hold you accountable. And 4th, curated content. There's more information than we know what to do with. And nobody got time for that. This is it. Now, I know some people are going to hear this. And I know that you said you wanted the D5 blessing, right? And say right in the chat if you're with me. You want to unlock the D5 blessing. You want to use the keys that unlock the D5 blessing. And you accept, I'm assuming, the 4 things I just shared with you to help you use these keys effectively to implement. Talk back to me in the chat. And some people are going to hear, about the D5 blessing. They're going to say, I want that. And they'll hear the keys of the D5 blessing and say, I understand that. And then they'll hear the 4 things I just said that will lead to being able to use those keys effectively. And they'll say, I accept that. But when the rubber meets the road, I'm trying to help y'all. When the rubber meets the road, you got 3 types of people. It is what it is. I'm not saying this is you, but I'm just saying somebody's going to watch this and this is going to be that. You got 3 types of people. You got people that do nothing. You guys are going to hear this whole thing. You're going to hear the D5 blessing. You're going to hear the keys. You're going to hear the 4 implementation hacks. And you're going to go home and go back to normal and do nothing. I'm not saying that's you. I don't think that's you, but it's somebody, unfortunately. And that's okay. Maybe it's not the right time. You'll come back later. But I don't want that to be you. Don't be type 1 that does nothing. But here's the more prevalent part, and this was me for a very long time. This is the 2nd type of person. This was me for a little bit. Try to do it alone. You're like, man, I heard everything he said. I took good notes. That's so true. I'm going to go home and I'm going to start. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to get at it. And then when you begin, you're like, dang, I got a question. He's like, he didn't explain. He said this, but he didn't explain. Ah, man, this is like, and then overwhelm, procrastination, inspiration, overwhelm, procrastination, inspiration. The cycle starts all over again. You are not designed to do this by yourself. But I know some people are going to try to do this alone. Here's the third person. This is who I think you are. I hope this is you, because this is what changed my life. You get help. If you're that third person and you're like, I need some help. I'm tired of putting stuff off. I'm tired of trying to do it all by myself. I'm tired of starting and stopping. If that's you, I want to share something with you that I genuinely think can be life altering for you. Honestly, I really do. I want to personally invite you to something that I have been working on over a little bit of time, and I talked about it a little bit earlier. But I want to personally invite you to be a part of a brand new version of my community where I lead you in these 4 areas. Where I'm going to be providing you coaching, where I'm going to provide you continual learning from the D5 framework. You're going to be surrounded by like-minded visionaries who are building kingdom brands and businesses, where I curate content that is contextual so that you can save time, energy, and money and not having to search all over the internet for what you need. I want to give you a VIP invitation to my brand new community that I'm starting tonight, a new and improved version of Visionpreneur School 2.0. The #1 community for visionaries seeking clarity while building brands and businesses that serve God, their community, and their legacy. Now, I already told you that we ran a beta version of this over like the past 6 months or so. We're taking the community to a new level. I'm so excited. We're taking it to a new level. Continual learning. We're getting better. Each month, we will walk through a different phase of the D5 blessing process, a process I call clarity shipping. Clarity shipping. This is how it goes. Imagine you have a package that you need to ship, and it has your message to the world in it. You got to ship it across the globe to the person that needs it. You got to get it on a flight. You got to ship this thing. You got to start with discovery. We walk you through the proper processes and assessments and coaching for you getting clear on what you're building, who you're building it for, why it matters to you, why it matters to God, and why it matters to society at large. You know, because you cannot start the shipping process on the flight if you do not have your longitude and your latitude, and making sure that you have your proper marks for where you're going. You'll fly somewhere different. You'll be like, why are we in the Amazon right now? This is not where we're supposed to be. You got to know this part. You got to have the discovery aspect. Detox. This is the thing where, oh man, this is what people don't talk about a lot. You're trying to get off the runway. You're trying to get off the tarmac. You're pushing it. You're pushing. And you cannot get to liftoff. You just cannot get to, you're pushing, you're grinding, you're putting in the work. You can't get to liftoff because you got way too much baggage that you need to let go of. You need to unload that old baggage. You got to eliminate some stuff so that you can elevate, so you can take flight. And we're going to be walking you through this process. And there's definitely 5 places that every visionary needs to detox. We'll walk you through how to go about that process, as well as some other things that you might need to do that is catered personally to you. And then development. I don't know about you. I don't want to be on a plane with a pilot that's not skilled. And like, where's your license? I need to understand that you have the proper qualifications to be flying this plane. If you want to be a good pilot with shipping your message across the globe, look, you got to develop the skills. Develop, especially what I call meta skills, or not that I call, but they're called meta skills. These are skills that make all other skills easier, right? So walking is a meta skill. It helps you run. It helps the skill of running. It helps the skill of sports, right? Walking is a meta skill. Reading is a meta skill. It helps you write. It helps you travel. It helps you understand, comprehension. Reading is a meta skill. Self-awareness is a meta skill. If you want to be a leader, all these different things are meta skills. You're going to have to learn these things. But not only that, you need to be trained on how to identify and expose the areas in your life that need the most attention and development. Having that skill alone, 99% of people don't have that skill. They are not aware of how to identify the places that they actually need to develop in their life. That will set you apart just right there. So we help you in that aspect. And then discipline. I don't want a pilot that's not focused. The package got to get where it's going. There's a story of like I don't even know where the story came from, but it's like a pilot that he knocked like the coordinates off maybe like 6 degrees. Flight was supposed to be going to New York. It was just 6 degrees. Ended up in Washington D.C. Focus is important. You wind up in a completely different place if you lose focus. So we teach you just a framework called the Hollywood method, and I've taught this kind of before, but I've redacted like a lot of stuff actually from it because I'm realizing the importance of simplicity. I've taught this in the past, but I've changed a little bit, and this is the answer to discipline. Look, the answer to discipline is not focusing on how to do more. It's focusing on how to do less, and in that process you end up doing more. And then lastly, delivery. This is one of my favorite parts. Like I said, we help you decide what's the best way for you to deliver your message to the world. But not only what, we also show you how. We provide you speaking and writing frameworks that will elevate your ability to capture attention amongst all the noise that is existing right now. But there's something actually more exciting that I want to share with you about this. That is actually like the part I am the most absolutely excited about. I'll make this big so you can see it. So I talk about all these things, right? The D5 clarity shipping framework. We have weekly live group coaching calls, vision support, where we meet every week. That's one of the best parts. I mean, hearing what people are working on, having guest speakers come in, do masterclasses, having questions answered, being able to share testimonies, wins, lessons, all these things, ask questions that you didn't even know you had. Somebody asks a question, you're like, man, I should have asked that question. That was good. I didn't even know I needed to know that answer. And then we have a private community of like-minded visionaries who, it doesn't require you to be on social media, which is actually what I really like. You know, Facebook groups are cool. The Instagram DM group things are cool. LinkedIn communities are cool and all, but you open up for a notification in the community. Next thing you know, you watching some guy in Texas shoot Coca-Cola cans with the AR-13. You're like, how'd I get here? Like, how'd I get on these puppy videos? So I like having something, separate. It's literally you can have an app on your phone just for the community. It's really cool. Access to private guests and speakers. But here's the part that I'm really excited about: weekly vision reports of what I'm doing personally, me, Cleavon, to build a brand and business from scratch, step by step. From scratch. Why am I saying from scratch? Because I want to make this announcement to you guys that I am launching a new project. And it's called A Clear Life Podcast. This is a project that I am so excited to take. Like, look, this joint does not exist yet. This is literally a vision. And as lead visionary of this school, I have decided to go all in with you. I will be building my vision from absolute scratch. I want to remind you, my senior year of college, I mentioned it earlier in the story. I got called to the department chair's office, right? I got called to my department chair's office. He knew that I had an interview that day for a career management program for this big, one of the biggest health care systems. And he asked me, he called me in his office because he wanted to know how the interview went. And I told him, I turned down the offer. And he was flabbergasted. He was like, why? What would you do that for? And I told him, because I'm going to become a podcaster instead. The look on, I don't remember all the details, but I remember how it felt. He looked at me like I had 3 heads. And he was like, son, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. And up to this point, he's kind of been right. Not going to hold him. Not gonna hold you, but I feel like I don't think I could live without actually giving that dream a wholehearted effort. You might be thinking, oh, Cleavon, you are a podcaster. Yes, but I'm not a professional podcaster. The first time I tried, I wasn't as clear. I'm way more clear now. Way more clear. But now I want to prove that the clarity shipping process not only works for others, I'm going to do it. You're going to literally see me do it in real time. I'm not just telling you to apply your vision to your vision. I'm applying it to my own. The Clear Life podcast. I'm building it from absolutely nothing. Each week, I will report to you exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, all those things. And I do believe that this is going to top the charts. I do. I just feel it. I don't know. God, he could have be that way, could have not be that way. But I'm going to be doing it step by step. I'm going to be showing you what I'm doing to build an audience, to get on other people's platforms, to capture attention online. What I'm saying to people in person to get them to download my show. How I'm making a business model out of it. All these things. In real time. Like imagine if Steve Jobs documented every step he took to build Apple and Pixar. Imagine if like Walt Disney documented every step he took to make Disney Studios, or if Michael Jordan documented every workout he did and why he did it to become the most successful basketball player of all time. Or imagine if Jeff Bezos documented everything it took to build Amazon. How valuable would that be? Billions, billions, trillions. I mean, Apple's a multi-trillion-dollar company. What that would be worth. Now, I'm not saying I'm Jeff Bezos or Michael Jordan, of course, but here's what I actually am saying. I'm saying that I am better equipped to help you build your vision than any of those guys. How could I possibly say a thing? I don't have their resume. Well, because, here's the thing, y'all. Because once you've reached success in any area, no matter what the degree, you will always remember how you were feeling. So they will always remember how they were feeling when they were in your shoes. Jeff Bezos remembers how it feels to have nothing and be a no-name. He sure does remember how that feels. But here's the thing. He does not remember what he was thinking. You cannot remember how you were thinking. It's revisionist history. Can you remember how you were thinking when you were 18? What you were thinking when you were 13? No. Now, could you remember how you felt at that age? Yeah, you can. But you can't remember how you were thinking. All you know is that you didn't know all you know now. So therefore, when experts teach you, yes, they have the experience, they have the proof of performance, but there's a knowledge gap, and there always will be. But what if you could not just hear all the things that catapulted Mark Zuckerberg into success, but you were actually able to see how he made decisions, what worked for him, what didn't work, how he pivoted, how he progressed, how he perfected his product, and were able to follow and use the templates for yourself? How valuable would that be? I want you to join me. I want you to join alongside me. The things I'll be teaching and sharing and implementing right in front of you has cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I lie to you not, my guy. I brought receipts. I want to share with you this. This is literally just for one of the podcasting courses that I took. This actually isn't even the whole thing. This is just the second payment. This doesn't include the deposit that I made for this of $1,800. I paid $7,800 just for a podcasting class where I could be disseminating some of this information to you guys. I am not talking the talk and not walking the walk. And think about it. What's the average cost of tuition in the U.S.? Like, it says on Statistica, like $20,000 per semester. Roughly an average of $146,000 for a 4-year degree that you're only half using, if at all. If at all. And this is in 2021, 2022. You know, 2024 has gone up. It's gone up. I just want to let you put this in perspective. If you see the value of what I shared with you, just put yes in the chat. Put yes in the chat. And I want to ask you, what if all I did was finally take the thorn out of your side that has been persistently poking you to use your voice and make a change in the space where you see injustice, inefficiency, and bottled up potential? and you know you've been called to do something about it, how much would that be worth? Would it be worth it to you? Or what if all I did was relieve the stress from trying to, take on this massive responsibility on your own? Would it be worth it? What if all I did was show you how to leverage technology to double the output of your ideas, insights, and influence in half the time with just some simple templates and frameworks? Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? I charge $200 minimum. $200 minimum for one-on-one coaching. An hour. An hour. I'm sharing all this to let you know that like comparable courses and programs cost so much more than what I'm about to share with you right now. So much more. And I could charge, this much. I absolutely could. I've charged 4 figures for a course in the past. In 2023. I did. And if I did charge you $1,000 or $7,800 and all I did was this, would it be worth it? But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to charge you $7,800. I'm not going to charge you $1,000. I'm not even going to charge you $200 an hour. Not even $200 an hour. Only $97 per month. Per month. Per month. But because I said if you stayed on, I've seen people have dropped off. I said if you stayed on, I was going to do something special. I'm going to do it for 47, just to show my appreciation for you even staying locked in for this long. $47 per month, but only until the end of tonight. This is your reward for watching this live. You get to see this. If people are watching this tomorrow, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wish you could have been here. I know stuff probably happened. But I want to provide this value to you for $47 a month. $47 a month, y'all. You just go to the website on your screen, school.com/visionpreneur school. School.com/visionpreneur school. And I know, I said it before, there's going to be 3 types of people. I still know, even with all the value that I just added with the program, with the community, it's still going to be people that are going to do nothing. And that's okay. Maybe it's just not the right time for you right now. That is not a knock on you. If you can understand that about yourself, I congratulate that self-awareness. But if you know that like you have something that God has called you to do, I don't want you to go try to do it alone. Please don't make that mistake and come back to the same spot months, years later, because you try to carry a burden that wasn't meant for one person to carry. I want you to get some help. Just get some help. But here's what I want to relieve any type of risk bias that you might have. I really do. I want to make this as appealing and unrisky as possible for you. If it's not the right track, get your money back. Bars. If you get into the learning portal and get coached by me or whatever, and you're unsatisfied, you're like, this guy is full of it, you know what, this was not worth it, blah blah blah, that's perfectly fine. I will give you your money back, no questions asked. No questions asked. It doesn't take that long to figure out. I think 2 weeks is plenty of time. And the thing, it's a monthly subscription. You can literally cancel it anytime. But the click of a button, literally the click of a button, you can cancel anytime. Super low risk. Super low risk. I want you to have this opportunity. I really do. So the real question is, though, this is because it doesn't matter how much value I share with you. The real question is, what is it worth to you? Is it worth spending a few minutes of your time to go check this out? School.com/visionpreneur school. How much is a clear life worth to you? How much is a clear life worth to you? But you know what? I really might be crazy for this, and I hope this gives you the extra incentive you need to take. I want you to take advantage of this. Like I don't think you understand. Look, if anything goes how I think it's gonna go, the value of this thing is only going to skyrocket. I want to give you an opportunity. If you stayed watching live up to this point, I know you're serious, not just curious, because I'm pitching you right now. I'm giving you an offer. Most people leave during this part if they're not interested. $27. $27 a month until the end of this masterclass. School.com / Visionpreneur School. So what does that mean? It means when this live stream ends, I'm going there and I'm changing the price. I'm going there, I'm going to change the price. So as soon as this masterclass is over, the price is not going to be that. Get in on this right now. I really want you to be a part of this. We're going to be growing together. A community of like-minded visionaries that are seeking kingdom work. I want you to be a part of it. Just to recap, this is what you're getting, guys. Monthly trainings, action items from the DeFi Clarity Shipping Framework, weekly live group calls. You don't have to come to each one. You don't have to come to each one. I mean, come when you need it. But I mean, it's great if you come to each one though, because you probably get things that you didn't even know you needed. Right? Strategic exposure, private community, like-minded visionaries. Don't even have to be on social media to access it. You can have the app right on your phone if you want. Access to private guest speakers and experts that we bring in. I'm bringing in my network. As I connect with people, we connect with people. That's how we're doing it. If I connect with somebody that can help you, you connect with them. Straight up. I'm going to leak them in. Weekly vision reports of what I'm doing to build a brand and business from scratch, step by step. If this is for you, and I actually don't think I got to the slide that said this. If this is for you, I don't know what happened, but hey, look, I'm going to share with you. How do you know? This is for aspiring coaches, consultants, and content creators who want to make impact and influence with their that want to make impact and income with their ideas, insights, and influence for the glory of God. This is for aspiring coaches, consultants, and or content creators that want to make impact and income with their ideas, insights, and influence for the glory of God. If that's you, this opportunity is tailor-made for you. I want you to be a part of it. Visionpreneur School 2.0. It's up. Go to school.com / Visionpreneur School. That's it, y'all. I want you to be a part of the #1 community for visionaries seeking clarity while building brands and businesses that serve God, the community, and their legacy. I don't really see any other communities like this for this demo. A lot of people skip over this part, and that's why, you know, I know 27, right? The programs are good, but you can't get the full value of it because of this step that's being skipped, which is the clarity piece. This is serving an underserved market here. So that's my opportunity. I hope this brought value to you. I hope that the DeFi blessing helped you, and the keys to unlock the DeFi blessing helped you. And then the implementation things that I express, I hope you could find it. If you don't find it with me, that you could find it somewhere else. But I want you to be a part of this opportunity. That's it for me, y'all. I hope this blessed you. I'm sorry, y'all. I will see you hopefully in the future. Hopefully I can see you in Visionpreneur School 2.0. But until next time, keep building your vision every single day. Peace.